Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome to our Commander 2014 deck review. All this week we'll be bringing you our thoughts on each of the pre-constructed Commander decks that come out this Friday. Spoiler alert, you should probably consider buying at least one. We'll start off with Forged in Stone, the white Commander deck that focuses on both equipment and token-based strategies. We'll go through the deck breakdown in 3 sections. First, we'll go over the Planeswalker commander included in the deck, Nahiri the Lithomancer in this case. Then I'll give you some card suggestions to improve the initial build. Finally, we'll talk finance and predict some prices for the new cards and reprints. Nahiri the Lithomancer is the first Planeswalker commander we're looking at and is a decent commander with potential for build around. The downside with playing a Planeswalker as your commander is that it isn't a creature and can't win in combat. It does, however, have its benefits. You get an immediate effect from a Planeswalker and it's harder to kill since most sweepers and removal can't touch it. This being the first time we've had Planeswalker commanders, they've played it a bit safe with some of them. Because of that, a few of the walkers we'll look at this week will be better suited as support cards instead of your commander. Nahiri, however, is an example of a Planeswalker strong enough to build around as your commander. 5 mana is a little expensive for a commander with 3 loyalty, but Nahiri is like most walkers and can protect herself. In her case, by creating core tokens. You can put a 1/1 in play with her first ability and also attach an equipment to it. Getting a free equip is pretty solid if the card has a steep equip cost like Argenum Armor or Batterskull. Nahiri ensures that you don't sit there with a bunch of equipment and no creature to put them on, which is normally a glaring weakness for Voltron or equipment-based decks. The middle ability lets you cheat an equipment into play or recur one from your graveyard for 2 loyalty. This is likely more of a late game strategy when you've lost a couple pieces to removal or a sweeper. Nahiri would be awesome if you could activate both abilities the same turn, but you'll have to do some setting up since there isn't a great way to do that. The last ability is pretty powerful for 10 loyalty and gives you a reliable way to win the game. You get a Stoneforge Blade token that's indestructible. It also has an equip cost of 0 and gives the creature +5/+5 and double strike. In the absolute worst case scenario, you have a 6/6 with double strike, which is enough to take over games by itself. A token can be bounced if you're not wary, but play any creature in your set. The deck is pretty straightforward and draws from 2 common characteristics in white, tokens and equipment. Despite Nahiri's equipment-centric design, the deck as a whole relies more on token generation instead of suiting up one creature. Many powerful reprints made their way into the initial deck, such as Spectral Procession, Martial Coup, and Decree of Justice. Deployed to the front and Benevolent Offering are 2 new cards that also help grow your token's swarm. There are effects at the top and bottom of the curve specifically to get out as many guys as possible. Once you have all these creatures, you need a way to win. Fortunately, we've been given some good ways to do so. Cathar's Crusade, True Conviction, and the new Jazal Goldmane are all capable ways of winning with a massive team. Cathar's Crusade's definitely the most explosive of the bunch, as it'll trigger for each creature put in play by a token generator. Spectral Procession puts 3 1/1 counters on themselves and each other creature you control. Yeah, it gets out of control quickly. Can't get enough tokens out. There are 7 angels, Sarah Avatar and Sun Titan to provide you with some needed size. Catch people off guard when they assume you're a puny token deck and hit them with a Sun Titan. There are equipment in Forged in Stone too, don't worry. Argenum Armor is the prime equipment to cheat in with Nahiri. Bone Horde is strong as well later in the game, and Moonsilver Spear lets you add on to that army of angels. Skull Clamp also makes a return, perfect to pitch some tokens to get some much needed card draw. Depending on what type of strategy you use, there are plenty of powerful cards to add into Forged in Stone. If you focus on the equipment side of things, we can start with the 5 swords and Batterskull as noticeable omissions. All 6 of these cards are amazing in Voltron or equipment builds. You don't even need all 6 in your deck. Pick the combination that works best for you. The deck already includes a Swiftfoot Boots, but I strongly recommend upgrading to or adding a Lightning Greaves. Free equipped version of Boots is amazing even if you can't target the equipped creature. Umezawa's Jit is a constructed powerhouse, and though not as strong in Commander, is still a solid inclusion. As long as you can push damage through, one of the 3 abilities is sure to be useful. With all of this equipment, you need some cards that have synergy with equipment. Stoneforge Mystic and Stonehewer Giant both can help find and cheat equipment into play. The Giant even lets you attach the equipment to a creature, allowing for some clever plays mid-combat. Steel Shaper's gift can search for any equipment and put that card into your hand, possibly to cheat with Nahiri. Equip costs can be costly, especially when you have to move them around from creature to creature. Assuming you have Metalcraft, Pure Steel Paladin can make equip costs free, and Leonin Shikari lets you equip at instant speed. Also, Auriok Windwalker can move equipment for free, and Auriok Steel Shaper can reduce equip costs. You'll want plenty of creatures to put the equipment onto, which is why we recommend good attackers such as Baneslayer Angel, Zera Ascendant, or Mirran Crusader. With some of these equipment, any old creature will do as long as it can attack. If you're looking to build around the token strategy, there are plenty of cards that can support that strategy outside of the deck. Cloudgoat Ranger is one of the best token generators out there, providing 4 guys for 5 mana. Entreat the Angels can put a bunch of angels into play and blow out your opponents. One-time effects such as increasing devotion, Stormherd, or triplicate spirits will give you the guys you need to get through. You'll need more than just 1/1s to beat your opponents though, so you'll need ways to pump them up. A Johnny Goldmane or a Johnny Steadfast can put counters on your team, while Eldrazi Monument, a Chroma's Memorial, or Elishnorn can get them a little more punch. Coat of Arms is another fun way to pump your guys if they all share a type and you don't mind pumping up your opponent's guys in the process. Path of Bravery will buff your guys if you're ahead and also give you life when you attack. Windbrisk Heights can get you a free spell assuming you can attack with at least 3 creatures. Not hard to do when you have like 20 in play. The token strategy is pretty straightforward. You play cards that put tokens into play, then play cards that make them big enough to overwhelm your opponents. You can go out of control really easily if left unchecked. Financially speaking, there aren't many big ticket items in this product. It's mostly just a bunch of solid $3 to $5 cards such as Sun Titan, Skull Clamp, Grand Abolisher, and Martial Coup. Naturally, with the printing of a brand new supply of cards, these would be easier to find and thus worth less. Don't be surprised if all these cards can be had for as low as $1. There is one card in the deck that will generate buzz. Containment Priest is the newest hate bear and some interesting implications for Legacy, as some decks have a sideboard option to show and tell, natural order, and other effects that cheat creatures into play. With a Legacy GP in just 2 weeks, people may be scrambling to buy Forged in Stone just to get copies of the Priest in time. Unlike Scavenging Ooze or True Name Nemesis, Priest is not going to warp the entire format. Just give some players tools against some of the stronger decks. It likely won't hit $40 since they'll likely print a lot of Commander product, but don't be surprised if this is the most expensive card in the entire set or all the Forged in Stone decks get bought out of your store. That wraps up our first video for Commander 2014. What do you think of Forged in Stone? Is this a Commander deck that you're considering buying? Overall, I'm happy with the list. Totally not biased or anything. Nahiri, love you. Right, anyways, next we will look at Teferi and Peer Through Time. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.